Hey everybody, welcome to me hitting the desk and making everything shake around a lot. Let's try that again. Hey everybody, welcome to DadsDen of Pop Culture and Mighty Thor Monday with The Mighty Thor, number 354 from April of 1985. We are in the aftermath of the battle with Surtur. Hela is showing up today. Stand aside, Thor, for I am death, and Odin's soul is mine. Yeah, we're in the aftermath stage now. This is not a giant battle that's just going to be forgotten 5 minutes later for the next giant battle, although there are some giant battles to come. There are repercussions, and they're going to be exploring that. And one thing I want you to think about while you're looking at this, or to consider, is that Simonson set up a lot of storylines when he starts the book. Now, the biggest one, of course, was the Surtur storyline, Doom, and all that good stuff. And a few of the other storylines fed into that. But even those have repercussions that are going to be felt and explored over the next, issues that we do here. We still got more than half the year ahead of us, so we got a lot of story to look at still. So keep track of the different things, and he's even going to be setting up a few more here. That says I'm on this book for a while. I don't know if there was some kind of a deal where he was definitely on the book for a while, or if it was just him saying, hey, I'm going to act like I'm going to be on this book for a while and just see what happens. But it was not just a purely episodic storyline of villain, then villain, then villain, then villain. There's a lot going on here, kind of reminiscent of all the storylines that would be juggling and weaving in and out in Claremont's X-Men books. So we pick up right where we left off, Surtur and Odin apparently falling into Muspelheim, ending Surtur's threat to the entire universe. The ground closes up, etc. Thor yelling father. Loki is there in the background, equally amazed at what has taken place. And Thor, being a sort of, straight ahead, direct kind of fellow, starts slamming away at the ground. I will open up the portal to Muspelheim to get you back, father. Now Loki is like, no, Thor, cease this fruitless effort, ere it is too late. You cannot help our father now. Unhand me, traitor. Odin lies somewhere with his foe in the depths of Muspelheim, and nothing shall prevent me from seeking him out. And he slams Loki back, and I do really kind of love this shot right here of just Loki's feet from up, behind the rubble, what have you. He's like, oh, God, Thor. He goes, first of all, I don't detect father and Surtur anywhere in the 9 worlds. Well, that I believe would include Muspelheim. So they're giving you this little clue with no immediate kind of follow-up, but maybe that's not where they went. Maybe he is in Muspelheim, maybe not. Because obviously, this is one of those sort of mystery deaths. That could have been a weird board game back in the day. It is a mystery sort of death for Odin. Maybe he's going to come back. Who knows? But he also points out, if Odin was dead, his power, the Odin power, would have transferred to Thor and Loki, just as that power transferred to him after his brothers died. And it has not. So it says he is not likely dead. And he's like, dude, if you open up that portal, Surtur might come right back. You'll undo all the sacrifice that we've done. So Thor calms down. We then go to the Sahara Desert, where they are still battling the remnants of Surtur's army, the fire demons. We see Karnilla with the Norns up here. We got, Fandral and Volstagg and Hogan over here. Of course, Beta Ray Bill is there. And they're ready to fight. And then all of a sudden, the demons, now being blocked from their portal, essentially burn themselves out. Their bodies eat themselves because they're cut off from their power source. And so they burst into flames and they're gone. And that battle is now finally, absolutely, one great shot there with Beta Ray Bill. You know, what does he say? The desert is clean once more. So he's like, okay, well, a couple things. Karnilla, first of all, is like, well, I'm out of here. I'm taking my guy Balder with me. He says he wants to get to know me better, and he's going to get to know me better. And you see, Fandral here, Volstagg, did you see? Unbelievable that Balder should permit himself to be carried off by that creature. And Volstagg, I don't know, Fandral. You should be so lucky as to have such a nice warm place to go home to. Volstagg knows where it's at. Okay, so Beta Ray Bill, hey, I got to get back to New York, see what's happened to Sif, make sure she's okay. The Warriors 3 go with him because Hogun holds this elixir, well, basically a potion of healing. And when they get back, they do see that she is grievously wounded. The medics can't really do anything for her, but Hogun is there. Fear not, Bill. We have come in time, so she's going to be okay. All right, so now we've dealt with that. Closed up, we're tying a few knots. We're going to leave a few things open. Thor goes to find Heimdall, who was, of course, grievously wounded against Surtur, had to leave him behind. He finds him. He is still with us. He's still alive. And a couple frost giants are sort of sneaking up. And what do they hear? Odin gone? Whoa, maybe it's time for us to gather for an attack. And then what happens? We get this little explosion, this little poof, and Hela, the goddess of death, appears. Hela, the goddess of death, has come to Asgard. Then she's come for me. I shall not long be separated from my liege. And that's Heimdall saying, if Odin ain't around, I don't want to be around either. Save thy strength, Heimdall. I do not seek thy paltry life. I have felt a disturbance in the worlds like no other. Surely only Odin's death could have caused it. And yet I do not see his body before me. I do not feel his spirit, and I want it. Mayhap, Hela, 'tis because he still lives somewhere beyond your touch. Then mayhap, Thor, I should touch you instead and carry you down to hell at last. Never, Queen of the Dead. Wham! Dude, Thor is in no mood for nonsense right now. Oh, hey, there's Rocket Racoon, his little series, which I had once, or at least I had one or two issues, and I lost them somewhere along the way. So we get a little knockdown drag out between Thor and Hela, and she gets the absolute worst of it. Thor, you dare. Speak not to me of daring, thou greedy glut. You who have stolen mortal souls for your kingdom, who have taken innocence that deserved better at the hands of death than to be hidden away in the dank and clammy halls of hell. Full story was in issues 345, 348. Anybody remember that? Had to do with the Wild Hunt and all that stuff? Okay, we're setting something up here. That story is not over, is not to be forgotten, and it does lead to one of the most amazing, memorable moments from Thor. Even managed to find its way into one of those dreadful movies. But see, it just, bam, just takes her out. My father may live or he may not, but his soul shall never be thine. And she reaches out to touch Thor, and he jumps out of the way. Too slow, death goddess. Can't touch me. He says, for mine is the swiftness of the very lightning itself. And she basically realizes, this dude's pissed, and I ain't quick enough, and I better get out of here. So Thor chases her off. But this is what's important here. Flee, death. Flee and lick thy wounds, you who are not fit to utter my father's name, and know that Thor shall not be far behind. For I have sworn a solemn oath to aid those poor souls who have been enticed into death's unrelenting grasp. Look to thy defenses. The thunder god shall breach them all. And Hela yield up her undead. All right, that's the big setup for what's coming. But then you also see the frost giants. Jeez. You think what I'm thinking? Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Well, at this moment, well, not quite at that moment. This is, I think, a little after Thor is looking at the broken Bifrost, not going to be able to travel as easily between Midgard and Asgard. And in fact, they're going to drift apart. Maybe someday you won't be able to travel at all between them. But Sif, who does have the ability to sort of slice through dimensions and travel that way, has reached Asgard, though just barely. And she learns of Father Odin's death, which is, of course, quite traumatic. So this sets up a little something we're going to see in this issue. But he says, okay, look, this is bad. I need some time. He's not dealing well with Odin's death. Well, we just sort of saw that with Hela. But he says, what could you and Bill remain on Midgard? Defend it. Look after the Asgardians, because we're going to have to find a new way to get them back to Asgard. They might have to stay on Midgard for a while. You two take care of them, make sure they don't get in any trouble, because he goes, also, don't let them know about Odin. Whatever you do, don't mention the war. Because in their rage, they might tear Manhattan apart. I mean, they're Vikings. It's what they do. So she says here, Bill would stay if I wished it. As I thought, he loves you, as who could not. I would bid you to remain on Earth to guide our people, etc. And he also says, I have a special mission for Fandral. So I need you to give a special message to him. All right. So the next little aftermath we're looking at, Frigga and the children, she took them to this place deep in the mountains where they would be safe. And she is aware that Father Odin is gone. So the kids all want stories. And she goes, I don't have the strength to give you stories. I'm tired. Go to bed. And she goes out onto this balcony, and the kids notice she's out there and that she's crying. And they go to her, Father Odin's gone, isn't he? We knew it was going to happen. That's why he sent us away so we could watch after you. But he'll come back. He wouldn't go off and leave you alone. We're sure Father Odin will come back. Won't he? So, very traumatic for all involved. Sif gets back to Central Park, where we find out that Bill has had a little adventure, a little side quest in ROM number 65, fighting the dire wraiths. Not sure if I have that issue, but one definitely to read. ROM was a great book. It was a really fun book. Well done. So she speaks to everybody, though we have won the battle, it has not been without cost. The Rainbow Bridge has been destroyed. See, there's that little pause. Because, of course, what she really wants to say is Odin is dead, or Odin is gone. She catches herself. The Rainbow Bridge has been destroyed, and we have been bidden to remain on Midgard for the nonce. When suitable transportation has been arranged, we shall depart. Okay. They chat with the military a little bit. Beta Ray Bill takes his other form, so he's maybe not quite as conspicuous. And then we get this here. So we're dealing with aftermaths. We do have some longer storylines that are still going to continue. And we're going to see some more of that here just in this issue. This issue's packed. But we have here the start of something new. A bunch of people, a bunch of men who are maybe plotting something. We will see more of them in future issues. Now we deal with Lorelei, who's rather annoyed. Thor has not come back to her. He should be completely, madly in love with her. What's the deal? And she thinks that Amora, the enchantress, is appearing behind her, so she picks up a vase to throw at her. Loki, I thought you were Amora. Oh, she knows about Thor and me, and she says she's going to put a stop to it. Does she now? Well, you just leave her to me. The stakes are far too high to allow the enchantress to interfere now. And of course, he's not talking about the stakes of Lorelei's love affair with Thor. Loki has some things planned. Again, that's going to play out over the next few issues. But he also says, my dear, if this adulterated mead kept him with you in the first place, my stepbrother's will is far less than I suspected. Excellent. Why, with my help, you should be able to convince him of just about anything. So he realizes immediately that mead was tampered with by Roger Willis. Okay. So they vanish softly into Asgard. Obviously, Loki doesn't have as much trouble transporting between worlds as some others do. So that's all part of his master plan. Thor, meanwhile, needs to take a retreat. He bids farewell to Heimdall. He goes off into the snowy mountains, and then he sees, as though coming from nowhere, these footprints. He swore they weren't there a moment ago, and he decides to follow. And he is being watched by Hela. Who's Hela angry at him right now? There's the crystal ball. And she says, should he in truth invade my kingdom, the outcome would be by no means certain, and death should always be certain. And so she starts an avalanche while he starts riding off on his horse, using the hammer to deflect boulders and such. No, Odinson, though I cannot slay you directly at this remove, your steed is quite another matter. So she destroys his steed, turns to dust underneath his legs. He's got to know Hela's involved with that. He falls, the avalanche is upon him, and Thor is buried. And once again, all is silent in the mountains of Asgard, as silent as the grave. Bum, bum, bum. And now we get an extra little piece here. Tales of Midgard, home of the amazing human race. Now, you might know that in old Thor comics, they had a little section called Tales of Asgard. And they would kind of tell you stories about the past of Asgard, Thor, etc. It was helping world build, basically. And it was kind of also an opportunity to do these sort of fantasy adventures set in Asgard itself. Well, this is a little take on that. The Tales of Midgard. And it takes us to Chicago, that toddling town, where, of course, a certain Dr. Donald Blake used to have his practice. And his, former, sort of current employees are talking about the fact that Donald Blake has now been gone for quite a long time. His account is nearly exhausted, and some bills are already overdue. I've referred every patient he ever had to other physicians. He can't just have vanished off the face of the earth, Brenda. The private investigator I hired told me S.H.I.E.L.D. may have been involved, but in the end, he returned my retainer and quit. And quit looking. I think he may have been bought off, and I'm afraid something terrible may have happened to Dawn. So we are tying up another little string in the history of Thor, because we already, of course, almost as soon as Walt Simonson takes over, we get the end of the Donald Blake persona. It's gone now. It ain't coming back. Well, I mean, it's comics, so who the heck knows? It could come back, but generally speaking, it's not coming back. But what about the people he left behind? Well, here's just a couple pages to deal with that. And now we learn what that special mission that Fandral had was from Thor. He shows up, love the little tracksuit, very 80s. But he shows up, speaking as Fandral speaks to these women. I bid you greetings, damsels. 'Tis a morning that sings of the beauty and grace of all the city, why the sunlight fair bathes the cloud-capped towers in gold. I'm afraid that Dr. Blake isn't here at the moment. And well I know it, my lady. You do? You must be Mrs. Barclay, surely. And these surpassingly lovely ladies can only be Shauna Lind and Nurse Stevens. 'Tis a great pleasure and honor for me to meet those who have been so close to Donald Blake in his day. And essentially, he says, he's been called away for government service. It may take a long time, and he may never come back. So he pours out on the desk a bag full of gold. And this is Asgardian gold, so it's super pure, as a sort of severance pay. And he says, so come, look not to the past, but ahead to the future. Your service to Dr. Blake is at an end. You have known one of the noblest beings to walk the vales of Midgard. And though you shall not henceforth remember him in your waking lives, still your dreams will always be colored by the radiance of his presence. And your hearts shall be glad, though, it says they, maybe it should have been thy, and your hearts shall be glad, though thy know not why. I say, go in peace. And what that basically means is, it's going to wipe their memory of him. They're not going to remember Donald Blake ever existed. They're going to go on happily with their lives. And he takes this little sign off of the door, Dr. Donald Blake, MD, and says, I think I should carry this placard with me. Thor might well delight in a souvenir of the time he spent as a mortal amongst such beauty. So there we go, folks. Starting to, pick up the pieces, deal with the consequences, deal with everything. One thing that doesn't get spelled directly out, but it's implied, Odin's power, the Odin force, did not go to Thor or to Loki, which means the Odin force, one of the big bulwarks of defense for the Golden Realm, is gone. I mean, it's somewhere, but it ain't in Asgard. So Asgard, among other things, is now less powerful than it used to be and drifting away from Midgard and the minds and hearts of mortals. A lot of big stuff, and they're not ignoring it in this series at all. And like I said, the things that go on here, the consequences go on for quite some time. But we're tying up a few loose ends. We are starting a few new storylines, continuing some storylines. There's a lot of good stuff to come. So hopefully you'll join me every Monday this year as we go through Walt Simonson's run on the mighty Thor. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one and all the big, revelations and such, and where you might think it's going, if in case you haven't actually read these books. If you have, then I suppose you know exactly where it's going, but if you haven't, let me know, and we can maybe get a little chatting going on, speculation about what Simonson was doing with this series. That'd be very cool. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like, subscribe, maybe share with a friend. That'd be groovy. But until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. Read some Thor, and I will see you again hopefully soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.